individuals who have appropriate items for the City Council consideration should complete the topics for consideration for the City Council agenda form located at the front table by the entrance to the council chambers. If the issue can be handled administratively without council action, notification will be provided. If the item is scheduled for a meeting, notification of that date will be given. Do we have any announcements or recognitions tonight?
Not tonight.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is to approve a proclamation designating the month of April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and authorize the mayor to sign. Katie, would you like to come forward?
So moved. Thank you.
And all the kids. You guys want to hand these out? So we're giving you guys some bags. Inside these bags is information about local resources, mostly nonprofits that help with children who have domestic abuse.
Thank you. There we go.
Oh, wait, there you go. Right here, yep, right there. Where are these? You lost three.
I think you're scared. Okay.
Hi. In a bag or something.
See that guy over there on the end with the glasses? You're right for me, Kyle.
This one right here. Right here.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
You guys got to come up here too. So we have a few of us here representing the Child Advocacy Team tonight. I'm Katie Beek. I am with the Family Resource Center and I'm the chair of the Child Advocacy Team.
I'm Araceli Santos and I am the secretary.
Caitlin Whitehead with Prairie Plains CASA. I'm just on the Child Advocacy Team.
You're the vice president.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Dennis and Michelle.
Dennis Berry, the CAP team.
Michelle Irvin. So April is recognized nationally as Child Abuse Prevention Month. So we thought we'd bring you guys some resources today that are local resources that help children who've got domestic abuse, the health department, the Family Resource Center, Community Action, CASA, and several other resources in there. We also decided to bring our kids because that's really what it's all about. April 10th, you'll see us doing some stuff around town. April 10th is naturally a Wear Blue day to help promote child abuse prevention. So we'll be doing several different activities and stuff around town. Fresh Foods is helping us. We have kids color a bunch of brown paper bags, and then we're going to staple in information about child abuse prevention, return them to Fresh Foods, and they're going to use them to bag up groceries. You'll just see, hopefully, quite a few little things around town. Hoping just show some awareness.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank All those in favor vote yea, so say. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I know.
Where'd I go?
Where did I go? This is the Thank you.
My vote's cast yea, no votes cast nay.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to approve the proclamation designating March 15th through 21st, 2026 as Public Transit Week and authorize the mayor to sign.
So moved. Second.
How do you follow and act like that?
Where's your bags?
I keep brought food.
Self-serve ice cream.
Yeah, that's the big deal. My face.
True.
So we're celebrating 52 years, guys, that we've been providing service in McCook. So, and this past year, 2025, is the best year we've had for ridership since 2016. So we provided 6,230 rides last year, traveling over 17,000 miles. I was looking back at the scheduler today, and our busiest day in the last month was 58 rides in one day, and that is hopping. Usually it's around 40, some to, around 30, high 30s, middle 40s for rides in a day. Justin's doing an excellent job driving. I get compliments regularly from him. He's very patient and good and kind to our riders. Donna does an excellent job dispatching, and we have 3 substitute drivers, which has been a godsend. There are people that I can call at the last minute that can fill in. And I've even got to drive a couple times in the last few months. So, and it's always fun to drive and to get out amongst the people. What else was I going to tell you? 8 to 4:30 every day. He takes a half-hour lunch break. So we stay busy. Take anybody anywhere within the city limits. A lot of Walmart trips, a lot of clinic, PT, so medical, hairdresser, wherever they need to go, we'll take them.
What's the rate again on that?
$2 per boarding.
How's the new bus working on that?
It's a very smooth ride.
That's it.
That's it?
It's a very smooth ride. We've run into, recently in the last 3 months, we have got a lot of wheelchair rides, and those take extra time. And some days we've had 6 wheelchair boardings, and that takes a lot. And we find that the older bus works better for those.
Really?
So what we do is the days we have wheelchairs, we usually take the older bus out, which is still a new bus to me when you look at how old our other vehicles are. So it's working very well, and it just seems to work better for the wheelchairs to use the older bus.
So that's why you're using the older
Yeah,
bus?
so when you see the older bus out and about on a day, you know that we've got
Okay,
wheelchairs that day.
That was my next question, why are we using the older bus?
And we use the new bus when we don't have any wheelchairs.
Thank you, Beth.
But it wasn't the best configuration, and I went to a meeting in Lincoln last week, and everybody is frustrated with the new transits. I'd like to just take that whole apparatus out, but that's what costs so much money, I think, and put more chairs in. But it's working, and then we're enjoying it. So, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor, vote yea, opposed nay.
There it is.
Got it? I vote cast yea, no votes cast nay.
Next item on the agenda is a public hearing. A request for a special exception by Kimminau Rentals LLC to locate a bed and breakfast vacation rental in a business commercial district property located at 204 West 7th Street, legally described as replatted Lot 1, Block 10, Lot West McCook, addition to the City of McCook, Red Willow County.
I move to recess as a city council and convene a public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment with respect to the request for a special exception by Cunningham Rentals LLC to locate a bed and breakfast like vacation rental in a business commercial district, property located at 204 West 7th Street, legally described as replatted Lot 1, Block 10, West McCook, addition to the City of McCook, Red Willow County, Nebraska, with the city attorney to act as a hearing officer.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All those in favor vote yea, opposed nay.
I votes cast yea, no votes cast nay.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Is our applicant here? Come forward. How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you guys?
Good. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Adam Cunningham, I guess owner of Cunningham Middle LLC as well.
Well, I accept exhibits and evidence first. Exhibit number 1 is the city manager's report. That's 2 pages. Exhibit number 2 is a notice of public hearing, 1 page. Exhibit number 3 is a notice of hearing publication, 1 page. Exhibit 4, ownership list for mailing, 1 page. Exhibit 5, City of McCook Land Use Action Request Form, 10 pages. Exhibit 6, Article 13, Business Commercial District, 3 pages. Exhibit 7, Article 24, Special Exceptions, 1 page. Exhibit 8, Findings and Determinations of McCook City Council, 2 pages. Exhibit 9, Foremost Insurance Group Certificate of Insurance, 2 pages. Exhibit 10 is the minutes of the March 9th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting, and that is 3 pages. I'll accept exhibits 1 through 10 into evidence, take comments from city staff before opening public comment and our applicant. Thank you.
Yeah, since we have Adam up here, I'll go fast and then we can talk about what you're wanting to do. So we've got a special exception request for vacation rental / what was the other one? Not Airbnb, it's bed and breakfast. So that's the language that we've got in our ordinance. This one's kind of unique. It is a stick-built, single-family structure that's in a commercial district, but it is permitted because it's an existing stick-built, single-family residential structure. So when we're going through taking a look at it, we noticed that there wasn't an actual special exception for vacation rental / not Airbnb, but bed and breakfast, thank you. But that there was a special exception that allowed for the council to approve a use that's similar to other uses that are occurring within that district. Well, you've got a lot of hotels and motels in this district right now, the commercial district. And so it seemed like that was probably the appropriate way for this application to go. We had a application that was turned into the city. I took it to the Planning Commission here this past week. Planning Commission had a chance to go through, review, look at the A through I considerations. There were no concerns. The Planning Commission voted unanimously to approve recommendation of the special exception to the City Council. With that, I'll turn it over to Adam.
I guess you guys, my plans are just, a bed and breakfast, Airbnb / however you want to pronounce it. I mean, it's a great location for the businesses around it as well, all within, there's a lot of them within walking distance of it right there. They've got great parking. It's got street parking, but I've got a lot parking as well, and plus parking behind the building as well. So none of that would be a factor. Is there any questions that you guys might have for me?
I did a drive-by and I thought it looked great.
Yeah, I took out the tree.
Yeah.
The pigeons, they were decimating the concrete with landmines. So the tree is gone.
Yeah. They all came to my house.
You own that gravel lot to the north?
Correct. It's all wadded together.
Any other questions? Okay.
Any questions or comments from the public before we close it up?
One quick question.
Yes, could you state your name?
Dean McCoy, is there a city policy that caps the number of vacation rentals, Airbnbs, or bed and breakfasts in town?
No.
Okay, just curious.
But they are subject to the hotel occupation tax.
Okay. Any other questions?
Recommend we reconvene.
Okay.
I move to adjourn the public hearing, reconvene the city council.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, council? All those in favor vote yes, opposed nay.
My vote's cast yea, no votes cast nay.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to approve the application for a special exception by Kimminau Rentals LLC, located at the office,
Thanks, Adam.
in a business commercial property located to form the 7th Street, legally described and replatted as Lot 4, Block 10, West McCook addition to the city of McCook, Red County, Nebraska, finding a special exception considerations A through I are satisfied and conditioned upon providing the city of McCook with a certificate of insurance listing the city of McCook as an additional insurer. Okay. I'll second that. Any discussion? All those in favor vote yea.
You guys have your sheets in front of you.
We got our sheets.
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Are these Adam's notes or is this notes from Adam?
That's part of the packet. So
Who did it? Who did it?
Adam.
Okay.
I totally missed the motion.
I did. Linda.
Linda was the second.
Yes, I should have asked Adam actually. Is this serviced by city tri-service or by private?
Good question.
My guess is probably it's going, well, it's commercial, so.
So it is gonna be
probably gonna be private.
It was commercial prior to this, right? With Jackie's business?
Yes.
Okay. And do we have, proof of insurance listing the cities? Thank you. Last one, jeez. Where's that one guy that holds everything up?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor vote yea, opposed nay.
Be a nice addition to our neighborhood down there.
It'll be fabulous.
Yeah, he takes very good care of his property.
My vote's cast yea, no votes cast nay.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a presentation from Steve McNulty with the State of Nebraska SRF program regarding lead service line replacement funding options through SRF.
Welcome, Steve.
There he is.
Hello, everyone. Mr. Mayor, City Council. I'm here to answer questions about the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, our lead service line replacement program. I know in a previous meeting, Chris Miller Associates was in attendance. I actually read an article today from, I want to say, the McCook City Gazette, I think, where their daily gazette, Chris did an excellent job describing the program and where it stands. Right now, funding is available, especially for communities that have a true lead service line replacement need due to the public health concerns that comes with such an infrastructure replacement need. Funding is available through September 30th of 2034. Would say it's likely that the community would need additional funding, and based upon what we've seen across the nation, I would anticipate that in the future there would be another round of funding for such a program, but for now, the funding that is available is a loan. The SRF is a loan program, but here, the loan would be provided with a level of 60% forgiveness assistance. In addition, the community could qualify for a 10% bonus grant. That would be for mechanical inventory efforts to address the remaining unknown lines in the community. And so the remaining 30 to 40%, depending upon what the city would choose, would come at a 0% interest rate for an up to 40-year repayment term. And so that rate and that term are also providing that extra level of affordability. This funding is necessary because the lead and copper rule improvements are the regulation, are the law of the land. It is backed by the current administration. It's going to be enforced over the next decade, starting in November of 2027 through 2037. The community will be responsible for initially converting all of its unknown lines to either lead or non-lead. And when I refer to lead, that also includes galvanized, requiring replacement lines. Through those efforts, the city is going to be required to offer or make attempts for access to residential properties in their community. The city must make 4 attempts 2 different ways. I would advise, or I've been suggesting to communities, that one of those ways be a certified letter mailing. And then the other 3 can be very simple. It could be a door hanger that city staff walk up and place on the doorknob of a home, document that it was placed, and have all the information to contact whomever in the city to coordinate access to replace the service line. Trying to think if there's anything of note. In addition, and this is a little known component of the program, but could likely apply here for the city of McCook as well as for communities who have other notable lead service line replacement needs. In that if you are coming forward with a sizable lead service line replacement loan, wherein you have a $500,000 principal balance, in the future, the SRF would be able to offer you, when funds return, when they revolve back into the program, an additional 0% loan for any other purpose. It could be to continue to replace lead service lines in your community. It could be for other needs in your community. We understand, the program understands that should the community embark upon such an effort with the SRF, that you all would be replacing an infrastructure asset that you do not own, and the responsibility that comes with that. And so we have tried to formulate this program in a manner that maximizes as much assistance, financial assistance to you all as possible, that is legally allowable under both federal law, obviously. The SRF is based upon grants that are authorized by Congress, as well as state statutes for how the program operates. And with that, I'm here to answer any questions that you all may have.
Steve, this is Jerry Calvin. I'm on the city council. What are our options if a property owner flatly refuses access to their property?
So once you have a refusal, that property for the ensuing decade drops out of your replacement pool. Under LCRI, your replacement pool consists of the number of known lead lines, known galvanized requiring replacement lines, as well as your number of unknown lines. And so if all 3 of those numbers combined add up to be 1,000, using round numbers, then the community will be required to replace 10% of its lines annually between those two dates, November 1st, 2027 through 2037, 100 lines per year. Should a property owner deny access, even if it's a lead service line, then that line drops out of the city's replacement pool. You cannot force anybody to give you access to their property. And so a denial for access will result in the city no longer needing to have to replace that line. With one exception, let's just say that property owner would sell to another owner within that 10-year time frame. 2035, there's a transfer of that property to a new owner. The city would have to repeat the 4 attempts to gain access to that property with the new property owner. I've been asked a couple of times what happens after 2037. I'm not sure that anybody knows that answer right now. Probably those answers will be, answers to those questions will probably be given starting in 2035 as we head towards the end of the initial decade of the implementation of the Lead and Copper Rule Improvements Regulation.
So may I assume it would be the same situation if we have abandoned residences in McCook that we fail to contact the owner, although we do our best efforts? Same situation?
Yes, if there is no response and the city has made its and documented its 4 bona fide attempts, then you are done with your required element of LCRI until the property again would be transferred ownership. Neglect for a response, you are not responsible for the actions of others. And that's why I always suggest that one of your 2 methods of attempt are that certified mailing. Because what that does is it allows the city to also have proof versus if you were to do the door hanger method and have staff take a photograph that you hung that door hanger on the knob of that property owner's entrance. The certified mailing is something of a documentation record from the Postal Service that allows you to show always, not only to the department that you've made your necessary attempts, but also to that property owner. If at any point in time in the future somebody would come forward and say that you did not make the necessary attempts to gain access, what are you going to do? Well, you could show that you did make those attempts and have that on your side of those records should there be a dispute in the future.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Steve, if this council wanted to take advantage of this loan, what do we have to do?
Service lines are already in the ground, whether they be lead or galvanized requiring replacement. And so the clearance that we would do for this project would be what is known as a categorical exclusion. I had a community today submit an application, and we will issue a 2-page clearance document. And the only thing that could come up, and I feel bad because I always pick on her. Let's just say there's a lead service line that goes to Willard Cather's home. Well, the State Historical Preservation Office would probably be interested in how a plumbing contractor would be replacing that line to that type of home. And so if you have any residential properties that are on the list of National Historic Places, and the city of Omaha does for several generals that had lived in the city confines, I do not know if they have a lead service line to those homes. That would be the only hiccup in the entire process. For the everyday property owner like myself, if I would give access to the community to replace it, then you make the application for the funds, we draft our loan agreement, It goes off to the city for review, including the city's attorney. After review of all the terms and conditions, we finalize the loan agreement. And once that loan agreement is signed, then it comes down to the method by which the city will employ to replace the lead service lines, whether you'll be hiring plumbing contractors and or doing the work yourself, which is termed force account. I've had conversations with city staff over the past few years about the availability of these funds. I believe that you are leaning towards a contractor effort. The contractor would be required to follow 3 different notable items. One, they would have to not be debarred, which would be very surprising if they were debarred in applying and bidding on a project such as yours. They'd have to pay Davis-Bacon wages. Now, this is a residential project, and I know from experience of looking at all the residential wages across all the counties in the state of Nebraska that I believe in some counties, our new minimum wage will exceed the Davis-Bacon wage. And so it's not the amounts of money that the contractor staff is going to be paid. It will need to be documented, relying on standard forms that the Department of Labor issues. They would have to carry posters, post them on job sites, which they can do from their work vehicle. And the last requirement is they have to comply with the Build America, Buy America Act. Doing that is maybe a bit of a challenge on a more complex project, but new service line materials, either plastic, polyethylene pipe, or copper service lines, as well as new curb stops and or shutoff valves, all of those materials are readily made, manufactured in America, and those companies who are part of the industry that do so are ready and willing to provide the necessary certification letters. And so from the standpoint of the type of project that it is, and we are working with over 10 communities right now implementing these funds, the only item that we have seen to be a little bit of a challenge is some of the older homes are likely grounded to the lead service line. And so when you disconnect that line from the home, the electrical ground is lost. And most common ordinances require a grounding rod to be installed rather than another method. And those grounding rods are made in America. They're a little bit more expensive, but what some communities have done is buy, and this is perfectly okay, foreign-made grounding rods and cover them under the 5% de minimis waiver that is allowed on all Build America, Buy America projects. Because that's going to be the lowest cost item. Your service line material, all of your labor and effort, the shutoff valves, et cetera, will easily exceed the 95% element should you wish to put the grounding rods under that 5% waiver. There's no problems if you put it under Build America, Buy America, and I hope manufacturers catch up soon with manufacturing those across the country.
Okay. Any other questions? Any questions from the public?
I do have a quick question for Nate and Nathaniel. Can we pass some type of ordinance that requires a property, when it's sold, that the agent or the seller must contact the city and report what they have for a line, instead of us relying on the honesty policy of eliminate the 4 processes if they just tell us up front, I'm selling my house, and by the way, there's a lead line, or there isn't. Can we enact some legislation that way?
Enforcement would be difficult.
Well, I think we're gonna have to defer to whatever the federal government has for requirements. They would trump anything we do on our end. Correct, Steve?
So unfortunately, two separate answers. One, the city can be more restrictive than the federal government. And then two, there was one voice that talked about the practicality and the enforcement aspect of it. It's easy to say that you should be more restrictive, but then it will be the responsibility of the city and its staff to do so when you're not required to be more restrictive.
So this would just be, the question is just pertaining to their reporting requirement. So it wouldn't be more restrictive as far as what kind of line you could have going into the house. It would just be a reporting requirement. But we just have one title company in town. So we could let McCook Abstract know that we have this ordinance that would require that. Two. Oh, sorry, two.
There's two now.
Let them know, and I suppose that could be an enforcement arm. But yeah, I wouldn't see an issue with that. This is shooting from the hip. I want to do a little bit more digging, but I wouldn't see an issue with that. It would just practicality of being able to enforce it. If our title companies work with us, it would certainly help.
I've bought sold various houses in my lifetime. I think I've signed more paperwork for housing than I did when I joined the Marine Corps. I wore out 2 pens signing on things. What does one more form hurt for the people to say, hey, mail this off to Pat at the city and say, hey, here's a line you don't have to worry about, or here's a line to add to your list. Just help us out. Instead of us hunting it down, just let us know. If we could consider that in the future, I'd be tickled pink. I'd sleep better at night if we, reconsider that. It's all on me.
So we're going to change the lines going to the house, but if there's lead lines in the house, we're not doing anything about that.
Nope.
So we're just cleaning it up to get to the house, and then we're just putting it right in with the.
Exactly.
So I'd like to add a couple of things based upon your discussions. One, the SRF requires full replacement. And so that would be from the city's distribution main into the home, should the meter be located in the basement of the home, to the shutoff valve on the other side of the meter. All of the lead or all the galvanized requiring replacement elements would need to be replaced. You can leave the line that is in the ground, obviously buried in the ground. Most replacements done so far only remove that portion that stubs out into the home. And then I appreciate the discussion that you just had about property transfers. What we've seen so far, and this comes to how the city chooses to conduct the work, maximize the efficiency of the contractor, is you'll be looking to do this block by block. If you have Main Street between 3rd and 4th Street, and you have 3 lines or 4 lines in that segment of the city block, when you have your contractor there and they're controlling traffic coming down that portion of the street, putting a detour out to North or South Street on either side, you want to try to make sure that all the lines that exist in that city block are removed during the week or 2 weeks that the contractor is there. And so it is good to talk about the elements of once a property is sold, but I do believe that construction will be a bigger driver for access, because your neighbors will be, or other neighbors will be, watching the work being done that week, as well as the staging of your unknown lines at the same point in time. What communities have been doing is first coming to that city block, Main Street between 3rd and 4th. The first thing that they do is characterize or pothole, dig down to determine all of their unknown lines. If you have 3 unknown lines and you have 5 lead service lines, you want to do those 3 unknown lines first. See if one of them are lead. Begin the effort to call in for the property owner to see if once they are determined to have a lead line, if they want to join their 5 neighbors to have the replacement work done. You're obviously going to go to those other 5 known lead lines first, beginning replacements after that. But again, it's that concept of trying to clear cut a city street of all of its lead lines, galvanized requiring replacement, before you move on to Main Street between 4th and 5th Street. And so that is the way that communities have been doing it so far, is once they go into an area, they try to remove all the lead so that they don't ever have to come back or disturb that neighborhood again. With the isolated instances of the people who deny access and future property transfers, that is where, again, you have my empathy, my sympathy, how this completes in 2035 and 2036. And also, it even could be later. One of the things that I'd like to encourage for McCook to consider is that there are elements in the lead and copper rule improvements by which the city could apply for an extension. It could be that based upon the work as much as it can, as compared to a community that would wait until the beginning of the time period in November of 2027, because I have to think that if a waiver or an extension application is offered by the community, and it's based upon that you have tried all of your efforts, and rather than being able to replace 10% of your lines per year, doing everything you can, you're only capable of replacing, say, 7% of your lines. Well, if you can demonstrate that you're doing everything possible, and that is your maximum replacement, that will be more probably well received by staff in the drinking water division than those communities who have done nothing. And when they reach that first 3-year mark, because that will be the benchmark, you'll have to do 10% a year, but the first true compliance point will be 30% of the lines at year 3. And I'll close with the city of Omaha as an example. The city of Omaha has been replacing lines for 3 years now, and it will be in the 4th year. It'll be next year in 2027 that they finally hit the 10% replacement mark. It takes a few years for every community to ramp up to that 10% number. And so starting sooner than later, even if it's not through the DWSRF's financing, which I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it was advantageous to the city for you to take advantage of that. But even if you choose to go this alone, I would still suggest that you make inroads this calendar year so that you can increase your effort next year, and so that when you're getting to the first year of LCRI implementation, you're closer to your maximum replacement rate, whatever that may be, so that you know where you stand over the course of the upcoming decade.
If you know, can you speak to any communities that are actually going through with this, smaller than Kearney? Or is it just major metros and Kearney right now doing it?
Trying to think of who would be the smallest. The smallest that would be comparable, or that you're looking for, is the city of Wahoo. I can use the village of Paxton. The village of Paxton has a very aggressive water operator who literally walked into every single home to find every lead service line that they could. They whittled it down to 3 lines that they've already replaced. But Wahoo has a little over 125 lines, and they're going to start replacing those this coming spring, summer, fall. We have had a couple of communities of comparable size submit applications, and we are working towards completing loan agreements with those. Until the city would sign a loan agreement, I would not divulge any of this information to your neighbor, so to say. But I can tell you that there are at least 2 communities of comparable population, comparable lead service line numbers, that have made application and are trending towards signing loan agreements this year.
Pat, how many do we have?
That's part of the, we don't know.
That's
There's been a lot of unknown.
So how do we, with this loan, how do we know how much we need to borrow?
That's one of the questions that we've been trying to figure out.
And so this is a challenge that all of you will face. And unfortunately, the funding came before the lead and copper rule improvements regulation. Your need likely exceeds the time period that you're able to replace lines. These funds have to be dispersed for replacements before the end of September 30th of 2034. And so the number that you choose to apply for, based upon what I've seen, you will likely come up short. Now, I wouldn't tell you to hesitate applying for more. Unfortunately, the program has been put in a situation where there will be a clause in the loan document where we will be able to regulate, and what I mean by regulate is claw back funding if your lead service line replacement plan that you apply for is more than you're capable of doing. I'll use round numbers again. If you were to apply for $5 million and your replacement program is trending towards that you were only going to be able to replace lines by the end of September 30th, 2034 at a $3 million mark. What we have to do is be able to take back that $2 million from you and give it to a city like Omaha, who has the capability of spending it down before that 2034 date. We're not going to take money away from you that you can spend before September of 2034. But if we leave it in your loan, and we don't move it over to Omaha, well, then that money will be lost from the state. Overall, I believe that the state of Nebraska has a $500 million need to replace all of its lead service lines and galvanized requiring replacement lines. And we only have what I hope will eventually reach 180 million. Right now we're projected at 160. So that's why I believe that under the Safe Drinking Water Act, in the future, Congress will provide another round of funding, because it is going to take the entire decade. And for some communities that have a justifiable need for an extension, it could go into 2040s before this entire process completes. Now, all of that may sound a little bit off-putting, a little bit scary, but to me, you starting, you having that initiative to move forward is more important than waiting for things to be perfect, waiting for ordinances, for property transfers, waiting on issues such as property access to reluctant residential owners. For the numbers that the city of McCook has, you are unfortunately not in a situation that small villages could potentially achieve on their own. There's a town that I know of personally because I've worked with them. They have 2 lines that need to be replaced over the next 12 years. Well, the board chairman could go there, meet with both of them this Saturday, and hatch a plan to do their replacement effort. And that could well be that those property owners work with that board chairman to deny access. And therefore their replacement plan is that they're going to replace no lines. In a community the size of McCook, with the number of lines that are in your inventory and the number of unknowns, again, one of the things that is not debatable is the city will be responsible for converting all of its unknown lines to lead or non-lead. Taking advantage of these next 2 years, doing whatever you can during this construction season as well as that during 2027 will only benefit you once the true enforcement period begins, and those benchmarks, those metrics by which the community is going to be evaluated under by the drinking water division, can lead to discussions of whether or not you're in violation. And I was at the Nebraska Rural Water Conference last week with the Drinking Water Division Administrator, and she said to all of the operators in attendance that we will be issuing violations for those metrics that the city of McCook does not achieve. Again, it goes back to what you can do and what you're aggressive in doing. Could very well lead that you do not meet the 10% requirement, but you demonstrate that you're able to meet 7%, and that is your maximum, and the department could give you a waiver on that. There's a way to calculate that waiver based upon your number of lines, and the number of your lines only gets determined after you convert all of your unknown lines to lead or non-lead.
Any other questions? Okay. Steve, thank you. Thank you for all of your ideas and telling us things that we need to be looking at. We really appreciate your time tonight.
Well, thank you for offering me the opportunity, especially to speak to you virtually tonight. And if at any point in time after I sign off, or if you would ever want me to return, or if you just would want to do phone calls or separate virtual meetings, we are here to try to brainstorm this problem with you, however we can help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what's our next step? Pat?
Figure out how much money we need. Win the lottery.
So I don't play.
Okay, well, we've got our work ahead of us. Okay. All right, next item is the consent agenda, and it's approved on one motion. Any item listed on the consent agenda made by the request of any single council member or public in attendance be considered as a separate item under the regular agenda.
Let's call item B.
B is a boy.
B is a boy. I'd like to pull item C.
See is in Charles.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I have one to pull, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody from staff? Public? Any item on the consent agenda you'd like to see pulled? Okay,
On the consent agenda, I'll make a motion, we accept items A, D, and E.
Second.
okay. All those in favor vote yea, opposed nay. Okay.
There you go.
I vote cast J, no votes cast
Okay. Item number B.
I move to award the contract for the North Point Phase 3 paving and utilities to Paulson's Cozad, Nebraska, in the amount of $645,994 for the base bid, plus $19,520 for alternate number 1, that being the lowest bid.
I'll second that.
I just had Charlie and Amanda here.
This is, do you need me to come up there?
You don't have to.
Okay.
Well, maybe we should just because.
Okay.
I'm Mandy Engel with McCook Economic Development, Ms. Charlie Pearson. So this is just the next phase in the residential subdivision that we've been working on north of the fairgrounds. So this will finish out the infrastructure development to make access to all of the available lots up there. So we put in S and half of West 9th Street in 2024. And we kind of phased the project, actually anticipating that we would not be able to complete this phase probably until 2027, so we were a little bit ahead of schedule, which is good. With the homes that are being built out on S Street, it's allowed us to take on this phase a little bit sooner than anticipated. So this will make access to 6 lots on the south side of T Street and 4 lots on the north side of T Street, plus a drainage outlot. The alternate in there is for a loop to tie together the water lines for S and T Street, so we do not have dead ends there, which can create issues for Pat's department. So.
And you're using TIF money to do this, right?
Correct.
It's just a continuation of what's been going on up there. It's just going to that north side, and now it's gonna be able to access all those lots back there. So.
What did I see? We had, two bids from, Polson's and BSP. Okay. Basically is, well, you sent it out to everybody, but they only 2 returned, right?
Yep, I got one of those last time too. So
Yeah.
I think it was Paulson's company out of Broken Bow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Sorry?
Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we need to approve item B separately, or can we go on to C? Oh, we do, they're not. Okay.
I vote it's cast Jane, I vote it's cast me.
Okay, item number C, with the National Purchasing Cooperative. We don't pay to join this.
Motion. Motion.
Okay,
Adopt resolution number 2026-08, approving the city of McCook to join the National Purchasing Cooperative, aka the By-Board Purchasing Program, in accordance with the Joint Public Agency Act.
I'll second that.
okay. We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Oh, discussion.
You want discussion? Okay. Do we have to pay to belong to this at all?
No.
So then when we get a price that is good, but then do we pay them 2%? Is that what we do? I mean, how do they make money doing this?
Well, so my understanding is all this has been pre-bid out, so that number is automatic. I mean, our price is the same regardless. We're not paying anything more than what's already included in what's been quoted to us. So this is in particular in specifics to the hexagonal shade structure. This was actually bid through By-Board, but we had to go through the National Purchasing Cooperative because they've already offered that specific price for that hexagonal structure. So we don't pay anything more than what's in the change order. The change order, I think, was $71,000. Is that correct, Kyle?
That sounds right.
And that's another item on here as well too. We need to make sure that we're part of the cooperative purchasing, otherwise we would not particularly qualify for that price.
Great.
They actually charge the companies that are contracted through them a fee.
But it's not the cities or the other governmental entities.
That's how
They pay to belong, and that's where they make the money from, right, Kyle?
That's what it sounds, yeah.
Yeah, we don't pay it, yeah.
I mean, ultimately, we probably do pay in a roundabout way, but not directly.
Okay. Okay. All those in favor vote yes, abstain.
It's called a pass.
Okay. Update regarding the youth mayor.
I voted.
Okay, got it now.
No, I got it.
It's cast Jane, I vote it's cast me.
Update regarding the youth sports complex.
See, in front of you, you should have a copy of the most recent project sheet layout that Miller Associates provided at our construction meeting last Thursday. The blue shows the water that's currently been installed, the green shows the sewer, and the red shows the storm sewer. The water and the sewer is completely put in at this point in time. Storm sewer are getting closer. You can see that the sewer is actually already extended across the highway on U Street, which is exciting. The next phase that you're going to start, in addition to completing the storm sewer, here in the next week or two, I think you're going to start seeing paving occur. So that'll be the next step that you're going to see physically. As far as electric, MPPD has informed the group, just let them know when we're ready to go ahead and start with the electric infrastructure. And so that'll come from Paulson's when they're ready to move forward. I do want to thank the Masonic Temple. We received a gift in the amount, or a donation in the amount of $100,000 for the sports complex project. And so there are a couple of conditions similar to what we did with the swimming pool, but things that we're more than happy to go ahead and do. The agreement would be $25,000 a year for 4 years. So we appreciate the Masonic Temple's willingness to contribute to the project. Then I also just wanted to say thanks to everyone that attended the rolling out the turf last Wednesday. It was great to see a turnout that we saw, especially on a blustery day. It was pretty cold out there, but it was neat to see the kids running on the field. I think they finally got a chance to see what this was all about, and I think they're really excited about it. So appreciate everybody in attendance and everybody that's making this become a reality. So.
Okay, thank you. Council, any comments? Oh, okay. There being no further business to come before the council, I declare the meeting adjourned at